Welcome back. We'll now analyze all the international news stories in Worldview.
Do have our interest. This was the major area of concern which was discussed at length with the Prime Minister and other officials during this visit. The other was the atomic agreement which made a hue and cry in India, and ultimately we did sign. The interest was America's major interest was that once the agreement is signed, lot many reactors would be sold in India by the American agencies. But surprisingly, the first reactor India bought was from France. The other reactors which India is negotiating to buy is with Russia. So the American government is uncomfortable somewhere that their major business interest is not being taken care of. So that was another area of concern for the American government. That was another area where things were discussed at length. So they did also plan about the Prime Minister's visit to US, I think after a month or so.
That's right.
So these were the areas where these things were discussed. And India is really concerned about Afghanistan, because what our country feels, or the people those who are watching the development in the Western Asia, they particularly feel once the America withdraws from Afghanistan, Afghanistan will be left to the mercy of Taliban. And Taliban and Pakistan, what relations they have, we need not underline that. The entire world knows by this time. So it will be a Pakistan who will indirectly control Afghanistan through Taliban. So which is not good for India.
Right. Okay, let's talk about Mr. Sharif now, because their Pak authorities, they have foiled a plot to target Mr. Sharif, a plot to
see, during the election time, the Gilani's son was abducted by the terrorist. So the agency was looking for his son. So the army has violated the peace talk and they have fired on the Indian post. And I think yesterday's firing was the fourth one in Poonch. So there are no casualties, but things again have, I think, started on the Indian border in Pakistan, where the army is using their old tactics, either to give the cover to the people to sneak in, or for some other reasons best known to them.
Okay, and what about the US is now is going to supply the arms to Syrian rebels? That's something which is,
so that now the things are open.
Things are out. That's true.
Previously, everybody was knowing it. What was exactly happening in some part of Europe, where a lot of unrest were there. So it was known fact that America is fueling the waves. That means it is indirectly America is not fighting a proxy war anyway. They are a part of war. If tomorrow, if needed, they may send their army as well. By sending arms, you are almost open now. That's what I fear.
That's right. Okay, let's also about Egypt. There is one more development, that is, there's been a lot of pressure now mounting on the leadership to ensure that Mr. Morsi is also released. And, you know, of course, the situation is...
I think Morsi also have a lot of following in Egypt, and that is the reason you could see the anti and against and for Morsi. The things are continuously going on, and they have been from Kahira to Sinai. All those cities are under fire now. Everywhere agitation, particularly colleges and universities. People are on the street, and things are, means they are going on the worst side. The Alphaz Anup Chetia, the founder, president, who was arrested in 1997 in Bangladesh. So India was asking for him for a long time, and during this meet, it was almost decided that the Bangladesh will hand over Chetia to Government of India. But surprisingly, when the official talk started yesterday, on Monday, in the capital, that is Delhi, the Bangladesh official
activity now that's going on from both the countries to resolve a lot of issues, and
because ultimately China,
perhaps the pace is very
China is also realizing that they cannot have regular confrontation with India. With lot many things are happening. China has a lot of interest, business interest in India, so they cannot take on India just on small issues. So they are also open to number of things. They are also negotiating. We are also negotiating, but the LOC issue, as far as China is concerned, it's an issue. It is not going to be solved in a day or two. it will take years and years. And I think this particular government is really doing well. Not many meetings have taken place, and the speed of the meetings and the duration of the meetings is continuously increasing. So I think it will at least give some solace to the issue.
Yeah, but in fact today's newspapers are talking a lot about one of the things which we haven't talked about so far, that is the royal child, the royal baby. So at least and there are some impressive headlines too. Here comes the royal, that's one of the headlines.
Being an Indian, I really feel that one of our Dr. Sunita Godambi, who has graduated from Mumbai, and she was one of the doctors who was there in getting that baby delivered. So we also can claim that we also have some
contributions
helping hand and contribution
but,
to the baby.
Because this happens to be a big affair in Britain.
Affair in England, and of course that is the way the English people celebrate things. Now surprisingly, there are 3 heirs to the British throne which are there. Means I think after a gap of 119 years, you can find 3 heirs together, like Prince Charles, Prince William, and Prince William's son. 3 of them together, they will be the heir to the throne. Now these 3 together, I think was
in fact different British bookies, they have predicted different names as their
favorites.
There's a lot of enthusiasm going there,
whether
of course.
It will be a boy, whether it will be a daughter.
But the only
gambling on the name of the kid.
The beautiful sight is, of course, the first glimpse of the child, which any child will have that beauty, in fact. Thanks very much, Mr. Shobhan Khede, for talking to us. Quite a pleasure having you here. We'll take a very quick break in perspective, and after the break, we'll analyze all this business-related news stories. Please stay with us. Welcome back. We now analyze all the business-related news stories in Bazaar Buzz. And joining me in the program is consulting editor with Economic Times, Ms. Maithili Bhuznurmat. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Shalini.
Let's start the discussion with the RBI now making all possible moves to ensure that the rupee can be backed. It has squeezed the money again, and it seems that there is also going to be some sort of impact on the rates. On the rates, they might even rise. This is what newspapers are talking about. What is your presumption on that note?
Well, certainly since the rupee had weakened so dramatically, it crossed 61 on July 8th. So certainly there was a need for the Reserve Bank to step first. Initially, they tried to reduce the liquidity by limiting it to 75,000 crores. And now clearly, since finding that was not sufficient, they have further tightened the liquidity. They've done both that, and they have also told 4% as CRR. And you were allowed to have a daily average coming down to about 70%. So now what they've said that even your daily average must be 99%. That means you have to keep close to 4% on a daily basis. Earlier you could fluctuate. On some days you could keep very little, up to 70%, and only on the reporting Friday, as it is called, ensure that you have that minimum 4%. So now by saying that no, you have to do this on a daily basis, that flexibility that was given to banks of varying the amounts they kept with the Reserve Bank of India and possibly making use of it to speculate on the rupee, that has come down. They've also had some measures on the import of gold, as you would have read yesterday, day before.
Yes.
So I think the whole effort also is to try and ensure that A, the rupee becomes more expensive, it makes it difficult for people to speculate. At the same time, import of gold also becomes difficult, as a result of which there will be fewer imports of gold, and we'll have to see how far this really helps to kind of stabilize the rupee, because our fundamentals, unfortunately, are not very strong.
But there is another story today, that is the parliamentary panel is now going to think about a regulator to monitor the retail FDI. That's something which is probably new, but how is it really going to shape up, and how is it really going to also affect the FDI in the retail sector?
Shalini, I think this is a throwback to our past, when we always saw everything foreign as necessarily bad. Because if you're talking about regulation and you're worried about competition, we already have a competition commission of